Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to Islam Chose Me right here on the Islamic Broadcast Network, IBN Channel 8. You could find us on Facebook, tegotv.com, and also on YouTube. But on YouTube, I always tell you all, look for IBN Master. That's where we are on YouTube. I'm your host, Brother Mtima Sorowazi, the activist educator. And each week, we will share the powerful journeys of our brothers and sisters who have embraced Islam. Their stories of discovery, struggle, and transformation remind us of the truth that Allah guides whom He wills in ways that inspire and motivate us all. So all they get in what they ask for. Part 2. Brother Buffy.
Assalamu alaikum.
You forced my show, boy. You forced my show into a part 1 and a part 2. Yes, I believe us.
I must apologize for the passion and the heat, but we discussed prior that I will tell the truth. And the story actually gets worse before it gets better.
Okay, I got a season for this?
We go in at it as quickly as we can. I don't want to take up all your time because we can't go to part 3. So we have to finish in part 2.
But let me recap.
Yes.
Because you said some things last week that was very potent, and very interesting. So, and I'm trying to follow up to where we reached, because we're in Miami, right? Things hot in Miami. Miami gets smaller on this table. You understand? Buffy, hot.
Like fire.
Changing hotel, apartment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And mommy's still sick in Trinidad. Right? But leading up to that, there's some important things to look at. You spoke about when you were conscious enough to know your father, he was a strong man. And then that period of about 7 years, you saw your father not mentally weak, but physically weak, because they even mentioned that the Archbishop, the Prime Minister will come and they'll have this intellectual debate. So he wasn't mentally weak.
No, he wasn't.
But he was physically weak because he was in a wheelchair. One side of his body was paralyzed.
His right side. Yeah.
Right side. You spoke about your experience at St. Mary's, right? Your prowess in terms of basketball, right? That you found something that you loved, right? You mentioned the 4X class that you started to pay attention to, right? So that came into your consciousness that, what's really going on here? And, I want to tell you this, that when you look at the story of Serval, I attended Serval, worked Serval, loved Serval, and you look at what Father Pantin himself had said. Number people wrote about him and what he said, right? And you look at that experience that you had around the same time in the 70s in St. Mary's is one of the reasons why he started Serval. Yes, it had the element of the 1970 Black Power revolution, but he himself said that he was becoming distant from the people, right? And from the people, from the black people, the 4X, right? And if you look back at videos where you hear him talking and his writings, right? And that is what made him decide to, hey, I live in the comfort of that St. Mary's sanctuary.
But if I may interject here, and I think you will agree with me, vocational education is the way to save this country.
But that is the direction Roots Foundation have been going for a while, and now we solidified by being registered with NT and thing. But yes, and I agree. And just last week, Wednesday, the 15th was World Youth Skills Day, right? So yeah, I've always said that we treat, if you want to call it TechVoc or TVET, they call it TVET now. TechVoc was Technical and Vocational Education. TVET is Technical and Vocational Education and Training. We treat it as an afterthought. So you're not bright, go and learn a trade, go and learn a skill. right, is a second choice when this should be a first choice because competency, it deals with competency, it deals with all the skills you need, the emotional intelligence, all the skills you need, and you broke it down very well as we get into education and academics, right? Because textbook and TVET is education. But going back to you, and you know, following your journey, because a person don't just become what they become. A mango tree don't just be big, so it grow from a seed, right? And look at all those things that come and died. You know, your surrogate mother, you spoke highly of her, from Tobago, right? So you had that connection. So you know, you had two mothers. You see how both of them grieve in different ways, right? For your father, we look at your challenge. And I want to ask you, that experience in terms of, because as a child, we really can't process trauma properly. Eh?
No.
Is in hindsight, when we look back, we might say, yeah, boy. So I want to give you a hindsight moment here. Seeing your father, or knowing consciously at that age, knowing your father, this strong individual, and then seeing him physically weak, and then dying at a critical period in your life. Common entrance, what do you call it? Common entrance, SCA, is always a stressful moment. Remember the conversation you and your mom? Right? If I pass, mom, and then you go wherever they send you. Why didn't say, Maria Regina? No, you had to pass for the school they want. So that is always a stressful moment for children. And dad come and died. Your father come and died at that time. In hindsight, Buffy, your interactions with the authority, the male authority at the school, do you think your dealing with your trauma back then as a child, with the loss of a father, seeing him strong, then weak, then dying, did you feel that had any impact on how you related to the authority at the school?
I'll tell you why no. Now, you are the man with the degrees in psychology and the sociology and the,
I just looking for
and the masters
outside,
and so on.
you know,
So I beg humbly to differ. Because, right? Remember, the only certificate I have, bro, is my birth certificate. I have no paperwork whatsoever. Let me tell you why things started to get very sticky for me. At 10 and a half, 11, when he died, and we go back to a woman raising a child. My mother was an amazing woman. She's dead now. She's when I say amazing, literally, not because it's my mother. She was an amazing woman. Optometry, she was one of the pioneers of contact lenses in this country. She went coast to coast. She was always in America, in Canada, learning more about contact lenses. And because in those days, contact lenses were glass. Yeah. So it was maintenance, it was preparation. She was one of the people in the cutting edge, people like hers, Joyce Ali, these kinds of people who were the real stalwarts of the optometric world, right? Dr. Fraser, who passed, his son is now a fantastic doctor. He's an ophthalmologist. He does the operating aspect of it, the surgeon. You know, you sit back and you look at it and you realize your point and your question is a very cogent one and a very valid one. But let me tell you why. I didn't want to go down this road, but you're a good host and you're a good interviewer, so you're bringing it to that. Because I'm sure you know the public might want to know that, so yeah. let me trap Buffy. You trap me.
Oh, God.
So let me talk about it. At 11 years old, I started liming on the block. I smoked weed for the first time when I was 14. Right? So I started liming on the block. And block life is block life. So I started liming on the block to play basketball. So at 11, 12, I sitting down next to the court. I was a little fat. Not, I'm fat now, but I was a little fat then. I was fat. And, you know, them fellas sweating. Where in Diamond Vale now, where the community center is, used to be the shed that they held the excess material from building the highway. And that shed is where they put the court for Citizens Braves, which was the first division team I played for, right? I didn't know anything about basketball then, so it had national players. Everybody used to be there. So I go, it was a covered, we didn't have like nowadays. It was covered, right? So I there sitting down watching. So a day a guy came He dead now. He said, fat boy, he said, what are you doing sitting down there? He said, why you don't come and learn to play? So I said, I want to learn. Because you remember, you're trusting, you don't know better. He was like, all right, come. They teach me to lay up, they teach me to do this, they teach me to do that, and I started to learn. And I loved it, 4 or 5 hours a day. But remember, while you're playing basketball, you are now, through osmosis, through audio symptoms, through everything, you're picking up what's going on around you. I've seen men smoking weed, I've seen men coming and pulling our box in the back and say, look, we now get these things here, boy, we're looking to sell this, we're looking to sell. So you're learning on the block, right? In those days, cocaine was not a big thing. It's weed. So we're on the block. Brutal experience. Get to his hell, you know. And the block is a room in hell, you know. Don't feel that it's an easy life. Talk. No man to control me home. I'm about 14, St. Mary's College. I feel on top of the world. I'm playing ball. I was 13 or so. Talk. Getting them big fellas. Talk, talk, talk. Whole day, talk. And worse yet, if I burn you on the court, there's more talk. They planned for me. A Saturday morning, I reached there because I was very dedicated. Like how you had me waiting outside. As we here early. So I come, I stand up there, I waiting. I come early, 6 o'clock in the morning, I did. And fellas walking, but they talk about it the night before. Okay, remember, I couldn't be out at night like them. My mother home waiting. I live in 2 houses from the block. From what became the block. Them fellas say, Buffy, come. So I walk over. By then I'd already grown to be like 6 feet, 5'11", slim right down, you know, thing. A man say, Buffy, anytime you pull up any fight, we go beat you bad. Behave yourself. And it had 4-inch pipes that held up the roof. They take the 0.4 white wire and they tie me to the post. My hands behind my back, tie my legs, tie it around my neck so I could only lean forward. So they tie me up there. They say you talk too much and you're going up in problems. And we love you, Buffy, so we'll teach you to hush your mouth. They left me tied to that post from 6 in the morning. Anybody come on the block, only don't forget Buffy there, you get a slap. A man might get some clout, couple men pee on you, wherever. 6 in the evening now. A man say 6 o'clock, you know. What we do with them? They come. I can tell you who's the 4 men right now. 2 of them dead, 2 of them still alive. They say, Buffy, we know who your mother is. If you go home and tell your mother what we do here, Buffy, don't ever come back here. We will get locked up and thing, but don't ever come back here. They let me go. Cut me loose. Crying like a baby. I walk home, wash my face in the yard, I walk in. She's like, where you come from? I said, the block. I said, we were not late. I said, you know, they wanted some drills and things. She said, you looking so? I said, well, I'm playing whole day. She said, all right, I go on upstairs. I cry whole night empty bar. Next morning, 6:30 on the block again. Standing up. A man watch me. He say, you tell she? I say, no. He said, all right, come. He said, be short one, come and sweat. It never happened. You know why that is important to tell you? Respect is a deep, deep thing. And authority doesn't mean hate, you know. And punishment doesn't mean hate or malice. We are men. And that's why there's corporal punishment in Islam. Men are violent, rebellious creatures. And if a man don't have something holding him in place, we get the youths we have today. They're running amok.
Buffy, listen.
You could say, let's go. Are we ready for you? That 12 hours empty taught me more in my life than 12 years.
Listen, about 2026, 22, probably 2022, a friend of mine's, a woman, when you phone talking and thing, you do community work together. And she said, Emtima, I also always ask you this. You was a Boy Scout because you're real organized. Or, you know, I was
a Boy Scout.
But listen, when she asked me that, a big one, man, she talking on the phone. And she asked me that. Just so, on the phone, I get teary-eyed and thing. Frog in my throat and thing. You see, empty man, what happened? I said, shoot. You see, what happened, empty man? I said, I now remember something. Now, not that I didn't forget I was a Boy Scout, in Cub Scout now. But when she raised that, I remember, I used to always get trouble from small, always give trouble. And I said, but Cub Scout didn't give me no discipline. I was always rebellious and thing. I remember at night, the Cub Scout leader make the boys, I ended up Googling it to see, because that's what I used to do in Indian thing, make the boys make 2 lines, right?
And you had to run through.
I had to run through that line.
Yeah.
Whether I wanted to or not, eh?
Yeah.
And Buffy, who ain't tripped me for me to fall long, I get kicked in my head. I guess you saying what you went through there, boss, and I picturing that in my mind. And I'm gonna tell you something. You know what that do to me at 10 years old? Between 9 and 10. Because I was in primary school when I was in Cub Scout. Boss, that experience mentally made me become so violent, Buffy. Wallahi, I remember everybody who kick, cough. Me know the spit of me, I remember kick and cough.
I could tell you, just stop. No, stop right here. You made a point. Let me address that point and you go continue. The reason why you became that way is because there was no head applying what occurred. I'll tell you why. When they did that to me, the brother who used to run the block, who used to control the block, right? He talked to me, right? The next day when I came, I was embraced and we moved forward with love. Corporal punishment, as any one of my sons, any one of them 6 boys, was part of my family home, right up. The last time my big son was corporally punished, he was 23 years old. Right? But brother, punishment with love is not advantage, you know. You don't go too far. Remember, Islamically, we can't hit one another in the face. We can't do this, we can't do that. We are guided by the hudud. And I'm telling you, what happened to you became bitterness because there was no strong, and that is the same thing. How does Jumper Man in the gang in the States? It's the same thing. Go ahead, I listen to you.
I wanted to kill all of them.
Yes.
To the extent, when I ended up on the streets doing what I was doing, I remember clearly now, one of them, older than me, and I braced him, I say, woke up to him clothes, I say,
remember me?
No, I say, you feel this when I was 9 years old.
Okay.
Right? And what I ended up doing, injecting so much fear.
Because it was mishandled,
that when the scene, he said, so they say when Shaitan see Umar used to cross the road?
Yes.
That across the road.
Because it was mishandled, bro.
And so listen, I want today. That story.
It was mishandled.
Let me go up to Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, because
but me and you will come back to this another day.
Yeah, because no, Buffy, I'm telling you.
It was mishandled.
Buffy.
It was mishandled.
Buffy.
It was mishandled.
When that woman say, how you so organize that Cub Scout? That incident come to my mind,
because
boy.
it was traumatic for you, because it was mishandled. It was mishandled.
And let me tell you something. I end up bringing that to my wife. My wife knows a lot about my past. I say, you ever heard this story before? She said, no, first time I heard this story. I said, girl, I don't know how I just never remember that incident until that woman said, but how you so organized? There was a Cub Scout? And I said, but who the hell is this boy? Yeah, it was a Cub Scout. And remember and I probably had other memorable events.
In Cub Scouts, yes.
But I remember, and as I told you, and I seen in that damn church.
Did they put you to sit down prior and subsequent?
Nah, boy, the man just
exactly.
told me, run through that line.
Just a second, right?
I don't want to run.
Yeah, I didn't want. I'm not going into detail on that. I'm telling you a story that really happened. you're a Belmont man, but I spent a lot of time in Laventille. You know that, right? When we used to go up in the masjid by Salim Wakil next door to the health center in Laventille, you remember that? Good. A girl came in the masjid that day. I was there, Sudan was there, a few of us were there. So the girl come in. She said, who in charge? They said, well, the imam is, they said, no, who in charge now? They said, that man's son. I said, come now, sister. She said, I'm not a sister. She said, I'm not a Muslim. She said, I will never become a Muslim. I said, okay. I said, what's the problem? She said, you know, she called out 5 men names. There was Muslim. And they was running a mock him, Tima. Right? We're talking about the early 90s now. All of them dead except one. Gunshot. All. They come. She come. She said, these fellas, last night, they were in the community center. One of them came outside and called me. She said, I went inside. She said, all of them take out their gun and arrested them. She said, Mr. Buffy, that is your name, I said, yes. She said, I know who you are. She said, they rest down their gun. She said, when they rest down their gun now, they made me do sexual things. I said, all of them? She said, all. She said, only one didn't penetrate me. She said, but he make me do other things. I said, okay. Tell them fellas, I say, send for them fellas, let them come now. They come. I say, oh, they search them by the door. When they search them, 3 had gun on them. They take with their gun, they come in the masjid. I said, you know that sister name? They say, yeah. I said, good. I said, could you stand to the side there, please? I said, did you all do this? They say, yeah. I said, all right. I said, okay, you know, I'll go find out. I said, well, here what? 100 a man, you know. I said, but you know I love you, right? I said, but 100 a man. They say, but for 100 strokes, who kill we, boy? I say, if you're dead, you're dead. 100 a man. Wrap them with foam. The normal way. Right. We had a belt for that. Every 15 strokes, I stop. Something to drink. We make a little dua with them. I hug them up. I kiss them on the face. Go and take your 15 more. When they reach 60 each, I hear somebody saying, stop, 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 stop. When I look around, the same sister who got raped, she said, always stop. She said, Mr. Buffy, I know them fellas since they're born. She said, I have never seen them like this. She said, don't beat them no more. She said, she said, don't beat them no more. She said, at my paws raised, and she said, I've never seen anything like this. She said, Mr. Buffy, I want to be a Muslim. I said, you're serious? I said, think. She said, I don't want to think. She said, teach me and let me know. I gave her about 4 or 5 classes. She became a Muslim. She's a Muslim to this day. You hear what I'm telling you? To this day. I pray with them. Men say, Buffy, them men will kill you, boy. I'm telling you, Buff. And I told each one of them, I say, if you want to kill me, I hear every day, you know where I live in, you could kill me. I say, but I love your dog. And I hug them up. I rub the cream on their back. I see about them after. Send them home. A man is a man, and he will rebel, and it is an alpha system. And if he does not have a heavy-handed, strong man above him, and he is strong in his mindset, he will advantage them. That is why all these youth men doing terrible things, because nobody is putting their foot down. It can't be, I'm sorry to call the man name, it can't be Mr. Alexander alone, or this one alone, you understand? It can't be them alone, you know. It has to be every man in the village has to establish the authority. We have lost our way. I call Alexander name. So I'm going to say something that bother me. Because if we say we talking, we talking. Real bother me. I'm not going to call the other man's name. Alexander's have a little problem with the parliamentary procedure. Okay? Everybody in the country knows that. He built himself as a policeman. Whoever faults he have, he have. He went, he took a chance, he left his job, he fight for the people in Tunapuna, he win. Wherever. I have my faults, he have his faults. But he fight and he won. Fair and square. Fair and square. He reached in parliament. He never been there before. You know, as he jumped from senior superintendent to parliamentarian, bro? They're using words in the parliament that, right? A black man like him made fun of him. A black man like him drag him down in front of the whole country, all the youths. You know how them youth men go feel? Not me. Not me going and put myself in that position to get embarrassed. All you had to do was, big man, I know me and you don't talk. I know you don't like, man, I ain't too keen on you neither. But here what, man, come now. Bro, in this 10 years now, or 9 years, or 8 years, or whatever. Brother, man, this is what you need to do. If you don't want to take it from me, it's no problem. I good with them girls who's parliamentary secretaries and so on. I will send one to you. You will learn how to handle yourself. If you have any questions, let me know so we could have a fair fight. That is how it should have been handled. You drag a man down, but he can't read, he can't write. That is not the way. That is not the example. And what I'm saying, I stand by it. Let me tell you something. Real men is bad talk the police. Then I'm not about the police I don't know. You feel I don't know? You feel I'm naive and I'm stupid? The same things they say about me is the truth. I know everything. I was the intelligence officer at Jamaat al-Muslimin for 22 years. I know everything. And me and you used to talk anything. Real men, Buffy informant, Buffy's a CIA, Buffy's a FBI. Because I used to meet with the police. And I used to get a list of warranted men. I begged the imam to stamp that. And I went to them and said, send me a list of warranted men. So you don't have to run in the house and embarrass them and frighten the children. I said, I will bring them to you. We will sit down and talk. They were like, Buffy, you go warn them. I said, put me to the test. I wouldn't call the police name. But several of them started doing it. And I used to sit down with the brothers and say, here what's going on. For the betterment of what we are fighting for, I send in the lawyer with you. I come in with you sometimes. Let me go. And that way that is what is necessary. You see, real police corrupt. There are many corrupt police. I'm saying it clear. There are many bad Muslims. There are many Muslims who selling drugs too. But the average policeman, you never watch how his days go? By lunchtime, he do more good than the average man, you know, because he go on a call here, he go on a call there, he go help this one here, he go help that one there. Then he go do one wrong thing, then he go back doing something right. You understand my point, bro? And my mother used to say something, Intima. She used to say, before you take the splinter out of them eye, take the beam out of yours. We as Muslims have beams in our eyes, beams. But everything is the kafir fault. Everything is the non-believer fault. Everything is this, everything is that. We are to blame for a lot of things. They want to blame me. Blame you. Blame men like me.
You say something just now. I know, I think you're in the school too, right, Mr. Griffith? You're in the school with him? No, listen, anytime I get a chance to talk to him, hold on. I will tell him, ask him, hey, what did MTMA tell you? He might not remember my name, but he will know this. I was in Minneapolis.
I went to school with Gary. Yes, I know Gary since he's about 10 years old.
Well,
Gary knows me.
So, Mr. Griffith, if you're watching this, you know I asked you this question. Listen, I was in Minneapolis for IVLP. IVLP is International Visitors Leadership Program, a U.S. State Department funded program. Mm-hmm. We went to the Sheriff Department and they were showing us a program they have where they use what they call police liaison officers. Mm-hmm. For the different groups. You call Minneapolis. Minneapolis like it's multicultural, right? Apart from the Ethiopians and the Somalians, you have the African Americans. Like Trinidad.
It is, yeah.
And what is?
Not so much Trinidad, but like that, yes. Yeah. Cosmopolitan, yeah.
For every group.
It have a spokesperson.
Hello. For every group, they have a police liaison officer. Mm-hmm. What is the job of this police liaison officer? Two parts. One, just like we now say there, any problem within that specific group, they deal with the liaison officer. So if I'm in an extended warrant or the case of me, he will arrange, they will go with that liaison officer so they're not kicking down nobody's door and then accidentally shooting no Muslim wife and kind of thing, and then say no, he used the wife as a shield and that liaison officer come like the human body cam. That is one. Two, that liaison officer also works proactively. That they're not waiting for incident. So he will engage with the young people, have programs with just like what we do with the community policing down here. And I told Mr. Griffith, I said, listen, we need police liaison officers, right? He said, tell me about that program, right? And I told him where he could go online and find it in Minneapolis in the sheriff department. They list and you see all the liaison officers, what they do.
You intend for this thing to go three parts, but let me deal with this. Watch me. What you are saying is so cogent, so right on right now. Let me tell you why. The prison, both of us have a soft spot for the prison, right? Both of us. Prison is a university for crime, you know.
Of course.
You learn crime in the prison, you know. This is also going to be very unpopular, what I'm going to say here now. But when you study demographics, again, I am not no bright fellow, but demographics, the police, the army, the police, the military, right? The criminals, prison officers, they all come from the same demographic, you know. Wait,
hold on. And why is it at St. Mary's? The white boys would learn business and they would encourage all the Indian and African to join the cadets.
Brother,
Teach them how to
watch me. Now, when you sit down and you understand that, as we just said, everybody comes from the same demographic, you know. I ain't in this yesterday. I in it long. 36 years I is Muslim, 34 years I dealing with the poor and the oppressed. When you see a police officer comes now, they crucify the prison officers. Right? Them fellas this, they're carrying contraband in the jail. A prison officer came to me once. Forget his name, that's irrelevant. And he said, Buffy, I was in my cell, lock up. Say, Buffy, he said, a man now do me something there, Buffy. He said, you had to help me, you know. I said, what happened? He said, a man tell me I had to bring a quarter pound of weed for him. Because, you know, weed in jail is 15 times the price as weed out here, right?
Yeah.
A pound of weed out here is $1, is $15 in jail. Because you have to break it down smaller and whatnot. He said, Buffy, I don't want to do it, you know. He said, Buffy, that man called me back to his cell. He said, Buffy, you had to help me, you know. The man in tears, you know. I said, tell me what went on. He said, Buffy, he said, the man called me back to the cell. He said, you so-and-so grandson? He said, I feel I know who he is. He said, well, here what's going on. He said, call your wife. Wallahi, thumma wallahi, what telling you is the truth. He said, call your wife and ask her what color ribbon your daughter wear to go to school this morning. He said, and she go tell you yellow. He said, you work last night, ain't? You ain't go home. He said, no, I haven't been home. He said, call your wife. He said, Buffy, when I asked my wife, he said, my daughter went to school with her yellow ribbon, you know. He said, Buffy, why go do? He said, I can't go through this, Buffy. He said, them fellas will kill my children, boy. What are we doing about that? That is one. The system has to deal and address that. That is one. Because I challenge anybody, all the big talk, go in the prison and let them fellas tell you what school clothes your child went to international school, or what your child had on when they went Don Ross, or what your child had on when they went Maria Regina or Maria Goretti. Because remember, that way the big boys children just go. Let them tell you what your daughter went to school in, and then let them ask you for something, and where you go say, do we want? I have more children, I could make more children. I don't think you want to say that. That is one.
Wait. Before you go to two, you ain't kind of shoot the three.
No, I'm not. I'm finishing now. I'm finishing now. Two.
We're going to take a break right after that.
Yes. Two is this. We need to create a satisfied police, army, prison officers. You know why? They're dissatisfied, they're disgruntled. Any fool could see that. Them fellas making small money, and it's become a joke.
Working conditions too.
Them fellas had too much outside woman if they stop spending their money, so this, that, it's a joke. Right? And these fellas now, seeing, remember, their job is to watch men who making millions, you know. So when you see a man making millions, he's half your age, your wife asking you to go to a little dinner, you can't even carry she Fridays. And he going Trotters, and he going Amira, and he going these places, he going Rizzolis, and you can't even carry your wife or your child. No way. And then he call you and say, here what? Then big man, oh, you be moving so like you're suffering. Pastor Moran, I'll get all 200,000. Don't study that. You must say, no, I don't want that money because I have taken an oath. And my daughter will go to school, and then she will go and work in a poor government job while your children go into the best schools and running big businesses. I will make that sacrifice because I love my country.
So boss, stop in here. Listen. We don't take a break. When we come back,
We in Miami.
nah, we leave in Miami, boss.
No, but that's what I mean. We finishing off that part.
No, we getting deported. We in Trinidad.
I never was deported. That is where the problem. Right, let me go. I would love that.
Listen.
Let me come back to
When we
that.
come back, I want to hear straight now how you embrace Islam. Right?
Good. No problem.
Because we do
No problem.
2 seasons.
I wasn't talking about getting kicked up by the scouts. You know, you was
Yeah,
talking
sir.
about that.
Yeah, but you bring up a thing about men.
They beat me.
Why you do that?
Whole day they
You
beat
send
me.
me back in a
Whole day they beat me.
tailspin.
And watch me.
You
Them
send me in a
fellas.
tailspin, boy.
Boy, some of them I still check them. I love them brothers, boy. You know why? A man needs a man to run the show for him. Otherwise, he ends up running all over the place like a madman.
Okay, I can send them home. Let me take a break. Assalamu alaikum. We'll come back inShaAllah.
You never had a...
Ready to step into the future of home design? Crafted for longevity with durable tempered glass and premium hardware finishes, our shower enclosures ensure your home is ready for whatever the year brings. Out with the dated, in with the modern. Experience a bathroom that's as easy to love as it is to clean. Make this your year of style. Contact Camry Glass today and let's start your transformation.
Never too early, never too late to recharge and hydrate. Get your daily dose the right way. Grab our Oasis, now why wait? Never too early, never too late to recharge and hydrate. Get your daily dose the right way. Grab our Oasis, now why wait? The greatest, the safest Oasis for sure. Oasis, it's purer than pure.
فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا صدق الله العظيم.
When the moment comes to honor a loved one, compassion, dignity, and faith matter most. Come to Shyam's Islamic Funeral Services Limited. We provide trusted Islamic funeral and burial services, grounded in tradition and handled with care. From ghusl and shrouding to transportation, janaza coordination, burial arrangements, and special international repatriation services of your loved ones. With professionalism, with respect, with heart. Shyam's Islamic Funeral Services Limited, serving our community with honor.
Ah, Lord, I have to take some water to drink, boy. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Islam Chose Me with our host, Buffy.
I have been formally chastised.
Listen.
So I'm malleable now. I'm listening.
I take him back onto my show.
Go ahead, brother. I'm listening. I apologize to profusely.
My God.
Not me, brother. I didn't bring up that. You know, it's you talking about the poor scouts that you want to hunt down and the men and them put you through something. That is all.
God, boy. So listen. Oh, God, forget the name of the show. Islam Chose Me. That's the name of the show. Islam Chose Me.
Yeah.
So we here 2 weeks now. Second part, part 2. Part 2.
Hey.
And we want to hear now this whole colorful life you had. Experience, well, not so much in Trinidad before, but
Bro, me him cover to that. But let me get to the.
No,
let me finish it off. Let me finish it.
you gotta,
Let's finish
you
it.
gotta call this the Buffy
But
season.
I have to tell you about Islam Chose Me. So let me finish it off.
Right, so let me hear now.
How I became a Muslim.
Yeah,
Good.
How that happened?
Good.
You know this colorful hide. You're
Right.
hiding in Miami.
Are selling drugs Wild West. We're
Right.
robbing people Wild West. We sending the drugs now. We sending girls up to New York. The goods reaching up there, it's selling, right? Because it's 3-4 times the price up there. Remember, geography establishes value. Geography establishes value. A kilo of cocaine in Colombia is $50 US. A kilo of cocaine in England is 20,000 pounds. So geography establishes value. So we sending the goods, we robbing, we sending the goods up to New York. I blow in my money, as any drug dealer normally does, right? I buy spending 2,000-3,000 US a night on champagne, on this, on that, stupidness, right? You know women, they have intuition. I called my mom and said she was in Canada by then. So I just bought her a little car. Because she said, oh, buy nothing fancy, you know. Thing. I said, well, you know, the bodyguard ain't going good. This time his drugs are selling. So I said, listen to me. But I was the worst of the drug dealers. I didn't buy drugs and sell, you know. We rob drugs and sell it back, right? Because in those days, there didn't have no bad Trinidadians in America. Trinidadians they used to call us tricky daddians. They didn't have no bad Trinidadians. So I was forced to link with the Jamaicans, right? And of course, they had massive organizational structure. Shower Posse's, Kingdom, 63, they had big 20,000 man national, you know, right? They were big. So we doing our thing and whatever. Call my mama there, say, I want to send a little money for you. I said, them flight attendant girls come up and, you know, I want to send down some money for you and things. She said, listen to me carefully. She said, you notice I'm not crying? She said, you know, I cry a lot. She said, I'm not crying. I want you to listen to me carefully. She said, you're my son and I love you. She said, but you're selling drugs. She said, I know a few people too, you know. She said, don't ever speak to me in life again till you stop that. My mother did not speak to me for 13 years. She locked me off for 13 years. Locked me off. I used to go to New York, rent a suite, and sit in that suite, call her, you coming? She used to say, yes, I'll come. Send ticket, everything. And I just sitting down there crying because she only telling me that she will never come. And I called my mother, she always used to answer the phone. And as, hello, she heard my voice, she started crying. 13 years she locked me off for. So I selling my drugs, I doing my thing. 1988, I got shot. Right, I got shot in my arm, my back, and my leg. I was on a robbery. It went bad. Great story, but you don't want a story. So
No. Come.
I ain't getting you no story.
Tighten it, Mr.
Right.
Buffy.
I tightened it for you, bro. I got shot. Right. So my right arm was paralyzed for 10 months. I couldn't even do up a button. I couldn't even write. Right. So I go in, but I had to make money because I owe in lawyers, I owe in this. This, youths, is what happens to you. You get encapsulated in the spider's web because you had to pay the lawyer. You want a big Jewish lawyer out of Brooklyn, so you had to pay him. As he said to me, he said, you don't have to pay me. You know, he said, I release you. He said, but to come from me to a public defender, he said, how do you think that'll impact upon you? So you're running back to Miami, you're robbing, you're this, you're that, you're that. I'm robbing with my left hand because my right hand paralyzed. My hand in my pocket. I'm taking it out so. I'm moving it so. Right? Good. March the 12th. You say, we talking the truth? We talking the truth. March the 12th, 1989. We were in a club. Them fellas and a man fall out outside. They told me they were going to fall out to them. You know. And I had a Jamaican wife. And she tell me, she said, if you go with them fellas, she said, don't come back home. She said, they're using you. They're using your name. She said, do not go with them. And you know, woman, when a woman put a curse on you, I said, I can't abandon them. I went. Bacchanal in the club, long story short, everybody outside, bright lights than this. What I didn't know, it had about 7 BWI flight attendants there in the crowd. Man fall out to the man, the fellow who, right, the Jamaican was big. And the fellow who was opposing him was a Jamaican too, but he was smaller. The Jamaican hold him, so he said, what happened to you? And the Jamaican, our boy, tried to pull a gun. So when he bringing up the gun, the man hold his hand now and he twists it so. And he squeeze the trigger. So our boy gets shot and he fall on the ground. So when he fall on the ground now, instinct take over. But my hand, Allahu Akbar, my right hand ain't good. So I run up with my left hand and I empty it. Thank God, it's my left hand. He pick up 6. So when he pick up the 6 now, I left. Let me put it that way. Police coming, and they say, let me show you the mindset. I'm begging people, you know, brothers, give me your gun. Give me your gun. I can't leave him alive because I seen him breathing. Them fellas run. So I end up with no gun, the gun empty. I take off. I will tell you how it becomes now relevant that them girls was there. So I take off. I was going back home. My wife said, what happened to you? Well, you know the usual procedure. I take off my clothes, throw it in vinegar, then we burn it, the usual thing, right? You bathe down in the vinegar. I say, I go on, you know. I say, you coming? She said, I told you. I said, is either you coming or you ain't coming? Take whatever money I did, bam, bam, I go on. She came. I hid for 2 days. Everybody in Trinidad, but if he get deported, I was never deported. When the police went to him in his bed, he was alive, he lived. Mr. Two, he ended up with a bag. He ended up in a mess, but he was alive. His father was a big drug dealer in Jamaica, and he was a drug dealer in Miami. So the police went to him and they say, you know this man? Show him a picture of me. He said, I've never seen this man before in my life. They say, you're lying. They said, this man, the Trinidadian man, is who shot you last night. He said, I don't know who you're talking about. He said it was a drive-by shooting. I got shot. He said, I don't even know who shot me. He said, a dark tinted car pass. So I never got a case for that. But in my mind, I tell myself he's going to die. That is Allah bringing me home, you know. Come home. Now we backpedal to New York a year and a half before. I was courting this woman, right, who I eventually married and stayed married to for years. But she was a very pious woman. When I say pious, she was straight, and you know, since she was a little girl. And she said, once you selling drugs, I will never be with you. She said, stop selling tomorrow and we'll be together. I selling drugs. So I go up to New York, long story short, bacchanal, problems. So we in New York now, and you know in New York you can't wear jewelry and thing. You push your jewelry in your pocket. Them days I used to wear 3 earrings in my ears, big diamonds. I used to wear 2 diamonds and a ruby or emerald in the middle. I used to wear a big band. I used to wear a big ring on my finger, nothing on my right hand because you know you can't draw your gun with jewelry, you snag it up. I have a big chain around my neck. So I take off all my jewelry, I put it in my pocket. I forget my wallet on the bed. I had a place in Brooklyn too. So I go on the train line, right? The 8 left was the train, because she used to live out in Richmond Hill. So we did stand up. I say, you have money on you? She said, no. I said, I forget my wallet home now. She said, what we go do, Buffy? I look around. The only familiar face I saw was a Muslim brother with a table selling Islamic books and things. He used to be there every day. So I went to him. I said,
you don't know him, I just
never met him in my life.
Just know him. Okay.
I said, you know me? He said, yeah, he used to be here every day. He had some Jamaican name, he was American, you know. He said, you're here every day. I said, that woman there and myself, I said, I just want enough money to take her to Richmond Hill and bring her back. I said, I'm going to give her a little money for school tomorrow. I took out my ring. I said, this ring is worth about $11,000. I had it valued. He said, wow. Right? I said, this ring is worth about $11,000. I said, you hold this, give me $50. I said, I'll come back tomorrow and give you $200. He said, that's a very good offer. He said, you keep your ring. He said, here's the $50. He said, when you come back tomorrow, I want to have a little talk with you. Good? Took the money. We went, come back. The next day, I kept my word. I came, I said, here's $300 because he didn't take no collateral. He said, I don't want your money. He said, I don't even want the $50. He said, buy something. That's where I bought my first Quran. He said, buy something. Problem was, as we both know, I don't want to bad talk nobody, but he was inShaAllah, which is a deviant sect. Yeah. Right? So, but I bought the Quran, I bought a couple of books to impress him. I spent about $100. So it's books and this and that. And that's where now I started. Remember, I had a deep connection with Catholicism, still, even though through all the drugs. I knew the tenets and the rules of Catholicism, from Caucus of Nicaea, 325 AD, all the way up to the New Testament. I knew it inside out. So when I started reading this Islam now, it started to touch a nerve. But remember, deep in it. Deep. Can't pull out deep. That's how deep it is. After I shot that guy, I run away. I left Miami on the 14th of March. I reached Trinidad. Telling myself nobody ain't gonna know what's going on. I'll come home, I'll get a job, start a little business, I'm good to go. The 7 girls who were in the crowd had reached home and told the whole of Trinidad, oh my God, we now see a shooting in Miami. This, that, this red one, they call him Buffy. When I reach home, bro, my name had reached long before me. The whole country talking. Buffy kill a man, and this and that, which never happened. He never died, he lived, whatever. So, I reach home. All that money I make, I left everything with the Jamaican because she'd stick with me. So, RX-7 Turbo, jewelry, this, that, I leave everything with her. I come home with nothing because I tell myself, I going back, you know. Them fellas call me. How we used to go back to the States then was, they used to come and pick up weed, right? So the weed would pick up from Jamaica, and when they're flying back, they would fly low into the Keys, and you would be on the plane, you'd jump out into the swamp and hit the water, and then they would meet you on the highway, and you're back in town. Good? So they tell me we sending up we sending out a plane, and the plane will leave Jamaica. We'll let you know when to be, right? Just be in Jamaica and you're coming. You don't need nothing, you don't need no visa, nothing. Just be in Jamaica and you're coming. Because I was already hot in America 2 years plus. So I say okay. And this is why I've been invited here. Allah spoke to me. Bro, Allah saved my life, bro. Believe I tell you that. I do things that I could never make up for. Never. I sell 2,000-3,000 kilo of cocaine, boy. Which people life I destroy. We used to get, if I was selling weed, we used to get blocks of weed. 60, 70, 80, 100 pound blocks. Coming on a van, sealing plastic. We started to hire people just to cut it up. When we get kilos of weed, we get kilos of weed by the van load. I had to answer for this, you know. I have to answer for this. And bro, Allah tell me don't go back, you know. And I never forgot these words. And I beg these youths to disbelieve these words I go and say here now. I called the man. He dead now. I could say who it is. His name was Richard Ralph. He was one of the biggest Jamaican drug lord gang leaders in America. We were on CNN. They called us the cocaine cowboys. They said we were uncontrollable. And he was the boss. And I called him. He was on federal parole. He couldn't carry a gun. That is why he get to love me so much. Anywhere he go, I go. And I tell you, I told him, I said, Richie, me ain't coming back now. And he said something, Intima, that I have never forgotten. And I beg these youths, do not believe them fellas when they tell you, you can't change your life. He said, Buff, he said, I love you. He said, I break all the rules. Because that man killed more people than the plague, bro. You know what I'm telling you? He said, I break all the rules. He said, I fall in love with you. He said, son, he said, people like me and you never change. You hear what I'm telling you? He said, you will never change. He said, and remember this. He said, when you're ready to come back, you have a home to come to. A home. Good? I was scared. Scared, because remember, that is all I know. I know money. My whole family write me off. My mother, nobody don't want no part of me. The whole of Trinidad saying I is a dog, a killer, a murderer, a drug dealer. Best I just go back. And Allah spoke to me. I embraced Islam on the 1st of January 1990. One thing I want to clear up. In the inquiry, they said that 5 or 10 days before the coup, I, David Buffy Maillard, took $600,000 cash and gave it to the Imam to help him pay bills for the coup. I did not even know Yassin Abu Bakr, who he was or nothing, because I didn't know him. I wasn't part of the coup. I was never in the coup.
You came in at 92, something wrong there.
I came in August 92 when he came out of jail. I never knew nothing about the coup. But Special Branch went and they sit down in the chair, in the box, and they say what they say. Okay, I invest. Again, there's no need for malice. They were misinformed. I cleared it up today. I cleared it up years ago already, but I cleared it up again today. I did not give Yassin 600 grand on that occasion. I gave millions of dollars after, but I never gave him that money then. So me trying to fool nobody, just the reality. But I'm telling you this, brother, and I'm telling everybody else by extension, I'm not an easy man to live with. You know what it is to be me? That is why most of my wives just leave man go their way, because they can't take it. Because hear what, empty man, I'm saying this to the public and to the whole world. Me ain't stopping, you know. I'm not stopping. I didn't expect to be 63 years old. You know what my alumni partners and saints tell me?
But hold on, don't confuse the audience. When I say ain't stopping, doing good.
That not doing good, striving to do good. Because we don't, we're striving to do good.
We had a whole episode about...
No, thanks for that. I appreciate that.
Because somebody goes here and say...
well, you still dealing drugs.
No, dotage.
Right? I have not smoked weed or drunk alcohol. I used to drink a case of Heineken and a half bottle of Bacardi rum every day. Every day.
So I do a good call there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Excellent.
As I say, and you know, that statement, and like I said, let them youth know not to believe that.
Don't believe it.
Because that could be that push.
But every gang leader will tell you that,
Yeah,
boy, I love you, boy.
That push them
That is what they will tell you, I
realize-
love you, boy. Don't study them, boy.
Look up, yeah.
I love you. Forget that. And furthermore, you can't change. Look, you kill this one, you kill that one. You feel anybody going through, you have borderlines. When we offer them opportunities, what they say, Mtima? Boy, I have borderlines, boy. Abu boy can't go out there, boy. And they're frightened and they are held in the shell. And we as the men of this society need to break the shell and protect them. These are children, you know. Now, don't get me wrong. Real talk, and this one song real hard. You run in somebody's house, bro. You beat a old woman and you rape your daughter. If it was to me, you're dead. If it was left to me, you're dead. You rape a girl, you home invade and beat up a old person.
and kill your old lady.
Them is thing, best you go your way. Let Allah deal with that, right?
I just tell the police, listen, all due respect, all have all a job to do.
No, but remember, we live in a Westminster society.
No, but some of them-
that is not the ruling.
Yeah,
okay?
no, but listen, and I'll be careful too, but some of them, hello, if Allah say, some of them suckers is fuel.
For the fire.
Come now, man.
Yeah, but we cannot discern who
Yeah,
is
yeah,
who.
yeah,
So
I
what I'm
do
saying
that.
is, real
But-
talk.
yeah, yeah,
I am
yeah.
not, watch me. I am
yeah,
not supporting. I want to
nah,
categorically
yeah,
say this.
yeah.
I ain't supporting them thing.
Nah.
But guess what too? Guess what too? All that money, all you're making in drugs, and all that big money and 100 gun and thing, people living in this naive, boy, it do have plenty gun in this country. I'd have thousands and thousands of guns in this country. Right?
In the 90s, a youth man tell me one time, he said, boy, a gun like a cutlass. Everybody have one in the corner of the house.
Bro, it are real guns in this country, right? And we being
They have
real.
a lot, yeah.
The only way to stop this is to, some are dead, okay? That is the way it go. Right.
Yeah,
But there are a whole host of young men. Last time I
Like a
gave,
chat-
watch me.
Because, yes, I tell a partner, I go call his name again, I tell a partner, you can't call them cockroach. I say we have to save some.
All right, watch me. Let me tell you something, right? You make up your mind, so I will give you what you want. Let me tell you something. Gary, stop talk to me. And watch me. I love Gary. I always did. I'm a partner. I know Gary a little boy. I'm a partner. He don't want to talk. He tell people, boy, Buffy, and them to, okay, I have no problem with that. But at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, we're being real. Bro, the situation we are in now, we have to unite.
Yeah, we have to.
And I'm speaking to the Muslims now. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, men go say, boy, Buffy, let us talk about faith now. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said clearly that he wanted, when he went to enter Mecca, and he could not because they were coming at him, he said, does anyone know the way here to get closer to the city without passing through this gate? And an Ansar said, yes, I do. That's how they ended up at the well of Hudaybiyah. And that is where the Treaty of Hudaybiyah was signed. I'm going to tell you something. We need to make peace now, not just on the ground. We need to make peace with the police, the army, the politicians. We have to.
Listen, I get plenty licks for that. And I will say it here. We have, listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. We have to.
And let me tell you
Because we
again.
cannot continue
No,
this
watch
way.
me. Again.
God,
Watch me.
man, boy.
Men call me enough informer. I working with the CIA. I working with the FBI. Right? Me not no problem with that. Wait. I want to get this out here. Me not no problem with that. Because when the FBI had me in the hand in Guyana and promised me Guantanamo Bay if I didn't give up certain men, how will you still out of jail? If I was scared and I was working, how they not in jail? Because I know everybody business. So the point is this, I don't study them, I study my Lord. Allah will know what I do or what I don't do. I don't even know my own heart, you know that. You don't know your heart, I don't know mine. Allah alone knows our heart. And I'm saying this clearly. The police do real often. Some of them selling drugs, some of them bringing in drugs, some of them doing real thing. But it are thousands of them doing the right thing, you know.
Plenty of them doing right here.
And let me tell you something. Real Muslims just do wrong thing.
Yeah.
And watch me. Men come at me hard. I beg for, what's his name? Dominic Hadid. And I wouldn't beg for brothers with the PDO. Right? Firstly, I never beg for Dominic Hadid. Sorry for him. Sorry for your wife. The brothers who get picked up on the PDO, if I could crawl on my belly and beg for them to be released, I would do that. But the reality is, When they pass 2-3 times and they take pictures of your videos of your bareback sit down on a block smoking weed, and the same brethren you're sitting down with say it wasn't me robbed the cigarette truck, it was Mtima. And they have credible information, not evidence, but information, and they scoop you up. You're vexed that I ain't beg for you? I say in this plain, I am not jeopardizing my integrity to lie for what I know is a lie. If I don't know a lie, I don't know I don't know it. But I am not prepared to do that. And let me tell you something. I am their father, boy. They don't want to love me, you know, and they don't want me. But I tell you something, I know what the police go say, watch him, he trying to raise an army, you know, watch him. I don't want an army. I don't want this. I will give you 3 quotes. All it takes for evil to thrive is for good men to stand by and do nothing. That is one.
We're doing that.
Here's the second one. If not me, then who?
Oh God, yeah.
And if not when? If not then, when now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the last one. When Omar Mukhtar was fighting the Algerians, he was 73 years old. I am 63 years old. I'm old. I'm tired, Mtima. Tired. I really am an old lion. I'm good. I'm good to dead. I'm tired. I didn't think I would live this long. I tell them fellas and saints, admit to me, we running a pool, Buffy, for the last 20 years if you go live out here. He said, how much money we bet on you? And I'm telling you this, bro, real talk. When they said to Omar Mukhtar, when he was going to hang at 73 years old, the general said, why? Why at your age are you doing this? He said, for there is no one else that seems to want to do it. And I'm saying the same thing. Where are all the leaders? The men with all the knowledge? I don't want no knowledge, bro. You know that. I'm an ignorant Muslim. Where are the leaders? Where are the men with the knowledge? Where are the men who have the ability to come and say and give the necessary evidentiary proof, give the necessary dalil to establish the truth, and let us take these young boys by the scruff of the neck and not fearing my own dogs? And I'm saying that on TV. Clear. Yeah. I am not prepared to fear my own dogs. And if them little fellas don't straighten up, then the problem is we have to organize ourselves as men. Because here what? What are we? What did Allah say in the Quran? Men are the maintainers, protectors, and providers of the women. And in return, the women shall be devoutly obedient unto us. If we don't provide and protect, they don't owe us obedience. And we are not providing and protecting, you know. What woman feels safe right now? None.
Yeah, please, man. Watch me. I have some brethren in foreign. I know when they watch this show, the old baller, because they always tell me, Mtima, what them Muslim leaders do in Trinidad? They ain't doing nothing. No, it's real, man.
No, watch me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not doing nothing, you know. I was talking to a businessman the other day. I will close with this. I'm done with this.
Hold on. Then plenty of them feel that problem is not. Listen.
I agree.
When you saying, but then are we problem like them and tongue problem or that is so and so problem? Crime is the police says on the TV, crime is everybody problem. And we had to stop looking at this thing as African, Indian, not 1%, 2%.
No, but that will never change.
No,
but don't let me be naive. That will never change.
But we Muslims
there's heavy racism on both sides. Eh?
Yeah, but yes.
Indian don't want no black man wrong the daughter. Yeah. They don't want no black man wrong the child.
Listen,
they don't want no black man wrong them.
To do better.
And you know what they say? When you ask them, they say, Buffy is their family values. It's not the color of their skin.
Listen to me. Look at the work I try, and I talk about me now. Look at the work I try to do with that school. And not one Muslim business. Not one Muslim. The other man tell me, oh, I seen a document for you to edit. Up to now you ain't edited. Why? I said, because I'm working on my school. I said, because none of them helping me.
They are afraid. Right? Stop.
Come now, man.
Wait, they are afraid. And if you are being honest, they have a right to be afraid. I talking to a businessman the other day. He said, Buffy, you want me to come down there and talk to them little fellas and let them know how I make my money and start from scratch? I say, you can't come there.
Well, then don't call me when they thief your car. Don't call me when they violate it.
Yeah, but
call the police.
Yes,
don't call me.
But it is our responsibility, is incumbent upon us to take care of our own home, Ntima.
Now the Muslim, listen.
Hey, a man have a right to be afraid because they will snatch him. Don't let me lie.
I know that, but
let me be straight.
My point
we need to sit down with them little youth men and straighten them up.
If you could call me, I will edit a document. When I tell you, hey, here what I ask you for, just introduce me to somebody. Let them see what I'm doing. I know you're not gang. I know you're not block. Right? You can't do that. But you want me to edit a document? You want me to do this? Contract meeting? Nah, boy.
I hear you.
Listen.
And you're frustrated, and you have a right to be
Fed
frustrated.
up with them, boy.
You have a right. Let me turn on the interview now. I'm asking you a question.
Nah, time to close out.
No, I'm asking you a question. Real talk, Intima. Real talk, bro. Right?
Enough of them,
I bear
boy.
my soul, and I'm asking you a question. Bro, the youths and men go really eat mouth for this. But them little fellas is good fellas, you know. Not the ones who run in your house and I talking about on the block. There are plenty good brothers, you know. And watch me, real talk. Plenty men get scraped up in the PDO that didn't need to get scraped up. But again, you can't blame the police because when you were small, your mother used to tell you, birds of a feather. If you know a man robbing, if when a man come home with the money, he say, watch man, now hit the truck, hold this, and you're taking it. If a man buy a pound of weed and give weed to sell because you know he robbed the money, don't be vexed when they scoop you up. Now, the Muslims who criticizing me, I have no problem. I love all your dog. I love them. They could dislike me. And I send this message. Surah Al-Ma'idah, ayat number 28. Go and read it. To those who don't know, it is the story of Cain and Abel. And it says clearly, should you come desiring to do me harm, you will meet me with my hands at my side. Me killing no Muslim, me raising my hand against no Muslim. So if they don't like what I'm saying, bro, they don't like I'm telling the truth, prove me wrong. And they can't. So what we need to do is rectify our problem. Don't let me study to rectify other people's problem. The kafir is lost. You see what the name of the show is? Islam chose me. Allah chooses whom he pleases. Them fellas might be lost now. I was lost. You were lost.
Yeah, of course.
Right? The reverse is the reverse. I don't believe in that stupidness about I was born a Muslim. You know, we were all born a Muslim.
Yeah.
We all revert. The key is this. Stop passing the buck.
Yep.
Empty man.
You ain't kind my shoulder part 3. So listen, Alhamdulillah. Right? Yeah. I had to take control of my show. This man just come and take over my show, boy. What good of this man, boy? Alhamdulillah.
Well, if I live past the next week,
Yeah.
inshallah, I'll come and talk to you
Oh,
again, right?
God. I want to thank, I call it Sir Buffy. And
You can mama guy me how much you want.
After the year, I want to know how that, you could like, yeah, that nickname since you're small, but you could deal with that off the air.
Short for Buffalo.
All right, Mr. Man. I thought Buffy the Vampire
Nah.
Slayer.
Buffalo.
I want to thank our guest, Mustafa David Maillard, a.k.a. the Buffy, short for Buffalo, for sharing his story with us today and last week. You know,
Have a headache.
may Allah continue to strengthen our faith and guide us on the straight path.
I mean,
If you have been touched by what you have heard, remember that guidance is a mercy from Allah. Seek knowledge, ask questions, and reflect on the beauty of Islam. If you want to share your story, contact me, Brother MTM, at 479-4510. And if you want to sponsor Islam Chose Me or any other program on IBN and talking to the Muslim businesses, this is a duty. Come on now, man. Support IBN. Right? Contact Brother Hasib Majid at 795-5900. 795-5900. Now, today we are closing off. That's why we give only two in one something. So we will close off to end this season. This is season 3. We end in season 3 on a high. But forgive me, my neck hurting me, no, boy.
have a headache.
Yeah, but my neck hurting me.
Have a headache.
You understand? So, thank you for your love and support over the past 3 seasons for Islam Chose Me, because every path to Islam is a story worth sharing. Alaikum assalam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.